Hey guys, Epsi here with a new series I'm going to be calling More Challenging Strikes. Now, in this series, I'm going to be looking at each strike and then how I want them changed. And this is not just going to be like, oh, let's add some more things here. I want a complete overhaul and adding some more mechanics into them to make them more interesting and fun to play. And more importantly, make them more challenging, because I feel right now that they're just a huge chore and they're really boring, and it's just like, oh, I'm just grinding through this to try to get maybe something good at the end where I just get blue engrams. So I want it to be something fun as opposed to that grind that we normally feel in this. So today we're going to be talking about Cerberus Vae 3. No, I hate this strike. It's boring and lazy design with half-assed attempts of grandeur that only resolve into a dull and monotonous whimper, only grasping at tense action with no real challenge. So how do we fix it? So encounter number 1 is really just like nothing really happens in the original playthrough of this strike. So yeah, we have to locate Ta'arik, and to do this we need to access a computer, and that's just boring as fuck. It's unimaginative, and it's just stupid. We just need a hold to interact to progress. Come on, let's just make it an actual encounter. So the change goes as follows. The players will need to locate Ta'arik as before, so the ghost will ask them to take him to the comms tower, which we took him to during a previous story mission. The Cabal have reinforced their system since then, so it's going to be tougher. The players will fight to the top of the outpost, where they will deploy their ghosts to begin digging for data. At this point, Cabal will spawn in from a few doorways around the area, and heavier units will be dropped in from ships periodically. The players need not protect the ghost this time. This isn't like the salvage missions that I had before. They do, however, need to prevent the Cabal from disconnecting the 3 hard lines located around the outpost. If a hard line is cut, the ghost's progress will be slowed, and if all hard lines are cut, progress will be stopped entirely. The hard lines can be repaired, however, by just going over to a broken hard line and holding the interact button, and they'll be repaired after like a short period, so about the same time as a squad revive. Once the ghost has completed its tasks, the players will be able to progress. The Cabal will pursue the players for a short period, but will despawn if they run too far away. The ghost will then inform you that he may have been a bit too reckless. The Cabal know you are coming and what your objective is. Ta'arik will be ready for you. Encounter number 2 occurs within the tunnels, and for the most part, it can just be skipped, which is boring. You don't have to actually complete this. I mean, it's a bit difficult to wait for that door to open, and I've been killed a couple times waiting there for it to open, but at higher levels with better armor, you don't really care anymore, so you just skip this encounter entirely, and I'd like to see it make it an actual encounter. So the change here is that the players will encounter Ta'arik's first lieutenant here, with his guard of 2 Colossus. He has locked all the doors, preventing your advance. Now, the players can have their ghost probe the door, which is the salvage game type, and it won't be disrupted, but the lieutenant is sitting right on top of the door, so it will overwhelm you, and you will be killed if you try to skip the encounter. To this, the lieutenant is a bit less tanky. The main threat here is the suppressive fire from his 2 Colossus. If the Colossus are killed before the lieutenant will retreat, leaving the door open for probe by the ghost. If the lieutenant is killed, the ghost may scavenge the lieutenant's security codes, which unlocks the door instantly. Either way, the players may progress once the door is opened. The next encounter occurs in that canyon where you fight the tank as well as Ta'arik's lieutenants originally, which I am changing up because this fight is fucking boring. It's just bullet spongy bullshit, which ultimately can be skipped. It's horde mode, which can be skipped. No, there's no incentive to kill the lieutenants because you can skip this encounter. You don't have to stay here. I've done it. He said, oh, the lieutenants are here. I'm like, great, and blew right past them, didn't kill them, and went up straight to Ta'arik. You don't have to kill them. Just it's stupid. This is a dumb encounter, and it needs to be changed. So, the tank will immediately spawn in as the players arrive, and another lieutenant will be waiting at the outpost in front of them. The Cabal will almost constantly spawn in from various doorways around the area, and stronger adds will be dropped from dropships periodically to reinforce the lieutenant. The lieutenant will aggressively pursue the players within the outpost. He also has a bit less health than he did before. The tank moves a lot faster, and I say a lot, but it's nothing ridiculous, just enough to run down players.
Further, its boost activates much faster and is more controllable. It no longer crashes into stupid walls. The tank's main cannon will charge more quickly, and the shell's velocity is also increased, so it's more deadly and a threat. Now, before, the tank would discourage getting too close with a barrage of smart munitions, which really didn't do all that much damage and could be avoided very easily. Now, if the players enter the tank's arena, smart munitions will immediately be deployed and periodically thereafter, and will track the players aggressively, no matter where they are in the arena. I don't care how far away you are from the tank, it's going to find you. If you are in a vehicle, you can probably outrun the barrage or at least take minimal damage, but you can't really outrun its ramming attack or its main cannon. If the players opt to remain out of the arena, it will take a defensive posture at the arena exit, where the players want to leave from. It will fire its main cannon as normal, but it will also occasionally fire off a massive volley of smart rockets at all players on the map, no matter where they are again. The players may try to skip this event, but they might find themselves very quickly killed by the tank's sheer DPS. If the tank is destroyed without killing the lieutenant will retreat, as the last one did. However, the tank will remain until it is destroyed, which is advised. Once the players have cleared a path or are lucky enough to avoid death, they may progress. And now for the final encounter versus Ta'Arik. Just all of my hate. Bullet Sponge with no real challenge or intrigue. Ta'Arik is not fun to fight. He is just a huge time commitment. That's it. Nothing else. All you have to do is throw damage at him until he dies. If you're killed ever during this encounter, it's probably because it's either your first time or maybe your second playing this strike, or you're not paying attention. Just hide behind a box, clear the ads, throw bullets for half an hour. Riveting experience! 10 out of 10. How do we change it? The change here is massive. The players will push through to Ta'Arik's lair thing, I guess, and then they will encounter an empty room and have the doors locked behind them. A massive door in the background slowly unlocks. You remember those lieutenants I told you? I told you to kill them, right? Because, I mean, letting them regroup with their commander would be foolish. Well, if you didn't kill them, they will walk out from the left and right platforms with a heavy guard, immediately laying down fire on the players. Have fun with that. Players will also notice that there is much less cover here than there was before, i.e. the huge boxes of Win and Happy have been removed. Ads will periodically spawn in to reinforce the area, namely the lower corridors and the upper platforms. The lieutenants, if any, will remain on their specific sides, aggressively attacking players. No ads will just sit themselves in the middle of the fucking arena like they had before and do nothing. A minute or so later, the massive door will hiss open and Ta'Arik will step out, very angrily. He has much less health than he did before, but employs similar tactics. Lay down suppressing fire, launch a volley of rockets, move periodically from one end of the map to the other. Ta'Arik's movement has also been increased a bit, and he will move across the upper platforms much more often, like every time he's on the opposite end of the map. He'll aggro the player, dealing the most damage as before. However, Ta'Arik's armor is much tougher. Any damage fall off is doubled. That means if you're at range, it's going to do, like, nothing. And so the players will have to get close to do any kind of damage at all. As well, bullets may deflect off of his armor, occasionally striking the players for reduced damage. This all sounds like we've made him more tanky. Well, it gets worse. All the bullets you're throwing at him, yeah, they're not actually dealing any damage to his health. That being said, his armor can only take so much punishment. Once the players have dealt enough damage to any specific piece of armor, it will fracture, bleeding black oil all over the shiny metal. This will denote that the players have broken it and will give them a target. The players may now damage Ta'Arik normally so long as they're aiming at fractured pieces of armor. As well, Ta'Arik will suffer various debuffs depending on the piece of armor fractured. For each leg, his movement is reduced. If both legs are fractured, he will no longer move across the arena, remaining stationary at one end or the other. He will no longer nova the area around him if the players get too close, but he will still try to smack you with his gun, which does a bit less damage than nova would. For each piece of armor, the accuracy of his machine gun is reduced. If you destroy his back armor, he can no longer fire rocket volleys, and if you shoot him in the chest, he's just fucked. Once Ta'Arik drops to quarter health, all the ads will retreat, an alarm will sound, and directive broken arrow will begin. Ta'Arik knows he's about to lose, so he's going to take you with him. Under Broken Arrow, a bomb will threaten to explode every minute or so for the remainder of the encounter. To this, a waypoint will be placed on the map. The players simply need to move to the indicator and interact with it. Takes about as long as a squad revive. However, these indicators are in rather precarious positions. The Tarark will aggro anybody who gets too close to them. If the bomb is not deactivated in time, the players will wipe. No, seriously, both you and Tarark die. You lose. Please restart the encounter. If the players die in this way, no lieutenants will spawn if there were any this go around, because that would just be harsh. Once Tarark is killed, the bomb will deactivate and the players will have won. So, the purpose of all these changes was to make Tarark, like, threatening. When I went in, I thought we were going to go destroy a Cabal commander, like, a commander. These guys are the biggest warlords in the universe. Their entire being is war. They are warmongers, and the commander is just a bullet spongy guy with a machine gun. Are you fucking kidding me? He wasn't scary at all. He was just a giant time commitment, and I wanted him to be terrifying. I wanted him to be, like, a challenge. And these changes make it seem like, oh, okay, so it wasn't just like, oh, there's this really tough guy that we can't be bothered to kill ourselves or send anybody else, so you guys go kill him. There was no reason in the original for Guardians, like a strike group, to go in and kill them. You could have just sent one Guardian in on a just random mission to go kill Tarark. It doesn't feel like a strike. Strikes to me feel like it needs to be done quickly and fast, because if we don't, it'll come back to bite us. And Tarark just didn't seem like that in this strike. So I wanted to make it seem like I was actually accomplishing something when I killed him, that he was an actual threat to more than just the immediate area, to more than just me in that strike. And I think that these changes do that. So, what do you guys think? Do you think the end boss is a bit too OP, or do you think it'll be a bit fun and challenging and great? Leave your comments down below with your ideas, and if I'm just dumb. And if you liked the video, please like and subscribe for more content. I've been Epsy, and I will see you next time.